BONEWORKS was a game that defined VR. It was one of those VR games that really showed you the capability of it and how physics can be used. And before we see if it still holds up, I'm gonna give a little rundown of the story. The game begins with a cutscene of Security Director Arthur Ford inserting a game-on USB drive into what appears to be a BONEWORKS system and barricades himself inside of an old office. He opens a Saber Lake case and puts on a VR headset, determined to achieve immortality. Initially, his task is to archive and dispose of items, but soon the effects of the USB drive become evident, kicking out other users, a shockwave in the office, null bodies gaining sentience, and void leaks. Ford then embarks on a journey to the Time Tower. Along the way, Hayes and Alora contact him, urging him to reset the clock. Omni projectors are deployed to eliminate any threats, including Ford himself. Throughout his journey, Ford encounters several clones of himself, both living and undead, as well as void beings stalking him. In the sewer level, Alora is aware of Ford's goals to achieve immortality and asks him to leave a way in.
Just leave a way for others to get in. That's all I'm asking for our contributions. Leave a way in.
Hayes discovers that someone, Ford, coordinated a breach in MythOS, but dismisses it as an inside job.
Into the complex and coordinated a breach in Myth. I don't know why, or who would even know how, but I think it's an inside job. I mean, these Saber Lake private security guys are not to be trusted. So once you reset the clock, we'll be able to get a better picture of what's going on.
However, by the central station level, Alora realizes that Ford may not care about what happens to him after the reset and begs him to leave a way in.
Unless you aren't concerned with them finding you post-reset. Leave a way in. You can't keep this for yourself. This is all of ours.
During the tower level, Hayes discovers that the Nullmen have been removing gravity cores from the system clock in an attempt to open the void gate.
They're pulling gravity cores from the system clock, maybe to open some kind of void gate. I don't know, but all I know is that this is super dangerous. So good luck, man.
Ford resets the clock, destroys the tower, and enters the voidway. He awakens in a new game, Fantasyland, along with more human clones of himself. He is then placed in an arena to earn an audience with King Arthur. After proving his worth, Ford is challenged to duel with the king. He defeats the king and reaches an unfinished part of Fantasyland, where he finds a hatch leading to the void. Arthur is contacted one last time by Hayes and Alora. Hayes informs Arthur that they found his real-world location and that he should leave.
Dude, they found you in the old offices. I mean, like the physical world version of you. How were you even still in there? That doesn't even make any sense. I mean, technically that's... Look, you gotta get out of there right now.
While Alora disappointingly shows the gamma drive he inserted earlier, Ford releases the hatch and escapes into the void, running off into Chamber 2. Soldiers, presumably from Saber Lake, breach into the old office, and a mysterious person walks in and executes Arthur in the real world. However, Arthur remains inside the void, ultimately achieving his goal of immortality. BONEWORKS is a physics game, so it makes sense for it to have good physics, right? Well, it does. Starting off with the guns, they feel absolutely amazing. When this game first released, the guns were revolutionary for VR. All of them have realistic recoil, and when a gun is used with one hand, it has significantly more recoil than when it's used with two. The melee is also amazing, with objects being held with one hand harder to control than being held with two. The body rig in BONEWORKS is very good, but lacks in some parts. For starters, it can be hard to pull yourself up onto things, with climbing being hard because it feels like you have 5,000 pounds pulling you down. However, interactions your body has with the environment, destructibles, and enemies feel great. The story of BONEWORKS is a crazy first-time experience. The game really has you think when trying to solve the puzzles. What makes it even better is that 9 times out of 10 there's different routes and ways you can solve these puzzles. And even after beating the game, there's still hours you can spend in sandbox mode, along with the ability to download mods, although people don't make mods for this game anymore. BONEWORKS graphics do hold up to this day, but they certainly aren't as good as BONELAB's. However, I actually like BONEWORKS graphics better. For some reason, something about BONEWORKS graphics seem more realistic to me, while BONELAB's feel kinda cartoony. There is about 13 hostile enemies in BONEWORKS, and they consist of Nobodies, Crablets, Omni Turrets, Ford VR Junkie, Omni Wrecker, Turret version 4, Ford Early Exit Headset, Crablet Plus, Omni Projector, Corrupted Nobody, Ford Head, and of course just regular Ford. In my opinion, I like BONEWORKS' design of the Nobodies way better than BONELAB's. Now what's my opinion on BONEWORKS as a whole? I think it's a great game and so much better than BONELAB. The first time I played this game I was blown away, and I still am. This game had such a big impact on me and VR gaming. Now, all in all, does this game still hold up after 5 years? Yes it does.